What is going on, guys? This is Red Bull Tanker with Operation Reforger Turn 3. It's technically the Arabs' turn, but I also realized I completely forgot to go over the Soviet turn. That was my mistake. That happened really late at night, and I completely forgot. So I'll give you an overview of the board so far. The U.S. has dropped another carrier in the Atlantic. The Allies are building up in France, while also building up a massive army in West Germany with these two army markers. There's the NATO army with 30 infantry alone. And then again, here is the British army that is in West Germany. The Soviets have lost Norway, unfortunately for them. The Soviets were able to destroy the last of the U.S. Sixth Fleet in the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean is open for the Soviets, and they moved some troops down here into Africa to help aid the Arabs to help aid the Arab League in its drive to the south against South Africa. Let's see, over here in Europe, the Soviet armies are continuing to build up. This is now the Soviet Air Army that is now based in Poland. And then obviously you have the Soviet forces in Germany, Slovakia, Romania. And then basically over here in the Pacific, one of the big things was China succeeded in a diplomatic role in their diplomatic roles for India, and brought India into their sphere of influence. They are building up for their attack against the Allied forces in Siam, though the Allies have moved in a massive fleet off of Malaya, and the Commonwealth was able to diplomatically influence Indonesia and bring all the Indonesian islands into their into their control. Granted, most of these are not worth the same as they are in Global 40, so it's not as much of an IPC hike for them as it normally would. America, and then basically up here, America and the Soviets are building up in Japan and Amur, as well as China building up in Peking. All the nuclear effects in Manchuria are now gone, so that's good for them. Over on the tech chart, couple nations are on the board. NATO's at stage 1 for war bonds. The U.S. is at stage 1 for long-range aircraft. The Soviets are at stage 2 for advanced R&D. The U.S. has also gone to stage 1 for M14 rifles, and the Chinese have also gotten to stage 1 for AK-47s. So far, really only the Americans, the Arabs, and the Commonwealth are achieving any of their desired objectives. I had made a mistake, and I was giving for the first 2 turns I gave the Commonwealth one of their objectives that they actually hadn't met. I just wasn't paying attention, didn't pick it up, so kind of my fault. But so that's the overview. So now we'll get into the Arabs' turn. So we'll first go over to purchasing, since I don't have a lot of pieces for them. So the German fighter is going to represent a jet aircraft that the Arabs are going to purchase, and then they are also purchasing an infantry and a transport. For their tech role, they are once again going to try for war bonds, so hopefully they can finally get to stage 1 on that one. They've been kind of hurting for that one. And then other than that, not a lot of combat. They're going to send some forces into Tanganyika to clear that out from the British. They're going to take their new Marine Division and their armor, and they're going to come down to French Madagascar and take that from NATO. And then this lone infantry is going to head out into West Africa and start gobbling up IPC from there. So, with that, I will have to obviously take a break, do the phone call, do the video call with the other players, and we'll see how everything turned out. All right, so all in all, everything went pretty well for the Arabs. They were able to get to stage 1 for Warbond, so that was good for them. And then they were also successful in their attack against Tanganyika and at no loss to themselves. So we'll quickly round out with some non-combats. This artillery is coming to the Belgian Congo. And then we have 2 tanks and a mech coming down to the Belgian Congo as well. Oops. Whoops, not going to do that. And the same will be said for these, for the Arab tactical and the Arab fighter. And then up here, this artillery is going to come down to Saudi Arabia. So that is all the non-combat moves. Deployments. Whoops, excuse me. So the infantry and transport will deploy here. And then the jet will deploy here. Come on, in Egypt. Huh. Yeah. We're going to deploy the jet in Egypt. Okay, so then at the end of the turn, the Arabs didn't save anything, so they will collect 17 plus, how much do they get for, plus 3 for one of their objectives. So they will get a whopping 20 IPC for next turn. All right, so that is it for turn 3. Excuse me. Like I said, I forgot to do the Soviet turn, so kind of wrapped it all into one. But so that's the end of turn 3. We'll see you guys again for turn 4. So until then, guys, take care.